Welcome G. Let's start. So today I'm going to discuss on the prototype model, and this is one kind of software design patterns. And this prototype design pattern, uh, let us discuss in the again two mode. One is the theory part, what the prototype design pattern is, and second part we are going to implement this design pattern in the Java as a language. Okay, so let us look the theory is a very simple. Whenever you want to create object, this design pattern you can use. So before that we have also learned how we can create object, maybe using factory or maybe singleton. Okay, so what are the differences here? So its theory say it is used when the type of objects to create is determined by the prototypical instance by which clone and to produce a new object. What do you mean? Let us we have an instance of particular class. Let's we have a one object. You can say that is the prototypes, and from this existing object we can create a new object by just copying the prototypes or just cloning. So what is the meaning of? Let's key here say you can create object, but not just as a new keywords and create the whatever the object needed input parameter. Instead say we have already one object created. Just assume this is a prototype. From this object you can create a new object. You can create a new object. You can create a new object. So question is why we need such kind of prototypes? You can flat create any new object, Java offer. So why we need a create object from another existing class? So in Java, some object creation it will take a time. Let's key this whenever one class and you are creating class, and class have some set of attributes. Whenever you are creating object, at that time you are initializing all the fields. So might be initializing the field will take us some time. Let's maybe getting some, let's give are initializing some object at that value, maybe you are getting from maybe API call or maybe from the database, maybe remote database. So initializing that will take some time. So you are creating a new object again the fresh way, again take a same time. You create a new object, again take a fresh time. So instead of creating an always the same way, why not we can just once time that is created object you can just clone it. So the remote call and database calls, the time you can reduce. So in short you can say this help us to create object in quickest time. Just reduce the time of your creation. Okay, so look, let us take one example and then you look how we are going to implement. So here let us we have a, let's see, we have a one class, let's see employee. Okay, employee, let's key have a like name attributes and so lots of attributes. Let us assume key currently we have a only one attributes. Okay, and let us override here. Okay, so this is a one simple, okay, simple class, employee class, and whenever you want you can create new employee class. This is the easiest way. You can create many places, but sometime let us key we have a class like another maybe department. Let's see department have a list of employees. Okay, list of employee. Okay, and okay, let's now let us we have a one method like getter method that return the list of employee. Okay, so question is that from where we are getting the list. Let's assume this list of employee we are getting from the remote database call. So that will somewhere, let's key we have a one method like private just void load employee data, not employees. Load employees. Okay, so here let us just as out. Let's say key loading employee from remote database base. Okay, it will take time. This is let's costly operations which are here. Let's key I have just we have a list of employee equal to, let's key we have just created 10 employees but for testing. So int stream just range from 1 to let's 10, and let's map to your object. Here you are creating whatever your number getting from this. Let's create a new employee object, new employee, and let's take a name, maybe employee, just append a number, whatever number, employee 1 2 3 we have just created. Now just collect and list. So now your employee is loaded. You are only doing let us key, okay, if your employee equal to object null, then you load. Okay, this is the case. And here okay, this is should be getter. Okay, so here employee. So whenever department object you are creating, you are getting the list of employee. That is great. So that is example. So let us, we have created department d department 1 equal to new department. It's okay. Let's key you say s out. Let's key department 1 equal to plus department get employee. What is the list of employee? So here you are getting might be there is no employee. Department have a null employee list. So before that, let's key I am going to just employee 1 dot load employees, and after that you will check, it will load the employee. Okay, now it will take time same, but employee is loaded. So my again here question say now you have a one object created. This is the program. From here you can create any number of department object, but let us example you create in this way. You say I can create new one freshly using the new object. You can do. Okay, you can create two object. Okay, but again employee 2 you are getting null. Again you have to load data, and that load data will take a time. So you know this set of employee already we have created in one object. Why need to again load here? Somehow we have some kind of here a department one object we can just clone and copy them. So here in department object we kind of instead of creating a new one and load it, there is a method like just clone it somewhere, some kind of clone method in this way. So we can get a just copy of that. So we can avoid loading remote data from database. So let us look how this so go to the department and just in department just you can say key I am going to just override clone method. Okay, clone method. You know, this clone method is defined inside your object class. Okay, okay. If you look this clone method, they are already defined inside your object class. Object is a superclass of all classes. But this clone method, you can say this is the protected. So anyone want to use this clone method, they must need to kind of inheritance implementation. So how will do? So for that we are not going to extend object class, but say you can just implement clonable interface, and clonable interface say just you can clone the method. So in this clone method, look like what we are thinking, ki clone method should return kind of your department. So let's just change the data type, instead of clone return department. So here let's we return like this. Okay, so what here say, they return the current object, but they're not cloning a new one. Just like a here say that's just like a super dot clone, just you have to typecast whatever you have to, like a department, it would work. And if you let's load it, your new two object is created. But here this object, both department 1 department 2 internally are referring to only one object. You have created only one new object. So what is happening here, you have created one department object. Okay, that refer your department 1. Okay, and this department contain your kind of a list of employee, and here in the clone method you are just making a different clone here, clone of department 1, but both are referring this same employee list. If this department 1 going to change here something, this department 2 also getting the same reflected value. Okay, so let us look like if just we have a department 1 department 2, let us here I am going to change just like a department 1 dot kind of a get employee list. Let's get 01 and just change the name. Let's change name, changed, and you look your department, you are just changing department 1, not department 2, and look the output. So here your department 1 and department 2 both are changed. So by default your this clone method which you overridden is like a shallow cloning. They are not cloning each and every attribute independently, but if your object contain the list of object, they are just refer the existing one. So here we want kind of a independent object, deep cloning. So here deep cloning you have to not type 2. So how do? So simply here say we can just create one department equal to new department. Here you are creating a new department, and this department you can say dot this department dot employee list. You have to assign the new employee list. So whenever this function invoke department 1 dot clone, so this department 1 object is available in this clone method in the form of this. If you say this dot current employee, okay, and return department. So here what you do, you are creating a new object, and again you are just let's run it first. So again you will get the same behavior. You say still we are not getting kind of a deep cloning. Both objects are changed. So why happened? So here what happened? Okay, let us again. You have created one department object. Yes, new object. One object is created. Okay, but internally they have a list of employee. They have a list of employee, and this is a refer by the department 1. Now you clone it. In the clone method, you can again create a new object, new department object created, and inside this again this list again refer to current dust list. Mean this is the same list again you are going to refer. So if something this department 1 dot get list dot 0 name change, if this name change, so this object name change, but this is also getting the same changed value. So in Hemiao, instead of referring the existing list of employee, we need a kind of separate copy of employee list for both. They refer own, they refer own. If someone change here, that does not reflect to department 2 object. Okay, so how do? Let us just go to the clone method, and instead of referring the existing one, you can say just stream it, just stream, and just map whatever the existing employee you are getting, and create a new employee, with employee.name, whatever the name you have. And after that just say collect to list. So here what I'm trying to say, whatever the employee list, you create a new list with a new, so they return the new list. Okay, and now let us check again, run the code. So here department 1 changed, but department 2 still contain the old employee 1. So here what we are thinking, same is implemented. Here you are creating department 1 with the new keywords. Okay, new object is created, and that referred to department 1, and inside department 1 I have one kind of a reference of a list of employee, and you are again going to creating clone. Inside clone method, you can again create a new department object, and new department object they have a refer to list of employee. So here you are again creating a new list of employee, and just referring to this, and this is referred by department 2. And here let's see department 1 going to change, department 1 going to change his name, department 2 name does not change. So here department 1 name is changed, but department 2 name is not changed because they have unchanged, they have different object. So this kind of cloning known as a deep cloning, means all the reference objects are also cloned, not only the top level class. If you are using the super dot clone, just top level class are cloned here, but all the reference object, this class can refer maybe list, maybe another object, so all these are independent object. Whenever you are super dot cloning, all they are referring to old one. So whenever you want not such a behavior, you want to separate copy for each reference object, then we have to do deep cloning. Okay, so in this way we are able to achieve. Here instead of referring the existing list, you can create a new one. For each employee, you are creating a new list of employee and just assigning to this. Okay, so this is the way. And now from here you can create any number of, let's run, and here you can create another department 3. Okay, and you can check department 3. If you notice, all are, you have created a 3 department object, but your data loading only once times. So if you have created one employee, we have a list of data, just you clone it, clone it, clone it. And now for creating other department object 2 and 3, we are not going to load data from remote database. Just we are going to reuse. That will save our time while creating the object. So the clone prototype design pattern just say, if you have a one object available, from this object you can create any number of, using the clone or copy constructor, whatever things, you can create any number of object. That will save your time. We are just going to reuse the existing attribute here. You are not going to if you are creating again new object fresh, if you are not using clone, that time you have to again load method, again invoke the remote call for each department instance. So instead of for each times you are loading object, why not just load one and just reuse? That is helped by the prototype design pattern. So prototype design pattern say, just you create one object that make our prototypes, and after this object you can create any number of clones, whatever you want, and each clone have its own set of copy. Anyone want to change something, they can surely change. That does not reflect to anyone. Let's say department 3 want to change something in his variable, not 2. Let's department 3 want to change the let's list one position data. Just a new change. Okay. And if you this is the 3. If you run it, so here you have a independent object. Anyone, department 1, department 2, department 3 can change. Here they change his data. Department can change his data. This can change his data. So this way you can create the list of object from one existing object. That is known as using cloning. So this is a very simple prototype design pattern. Say you have a one object and you can create a new object from one existing. You can just copy the object, but copy object or clone object kind of by default shallow. All the reference data types or reference object are not copied. So you want to that, you can just make a deep cloning, so that each object of department are independent and anyone can change on his own data. So hope it's clear what is the prototype design pattern. Prototype design pattern just nothing. Say if you have a one existing object, and from this object you can create any number of object using just cloning or using the copy. Okay. So in this note, here I like to just complete this discussion, and simple here I am trying to say, if you want to get the more comfortable about the prototype design pattern, just to write your code and write one simple example and just write a clone method and just look the output and differences, and whenever you're doing, you feel more comfort in the design pattern concept. So only my request and suggestion, whatever design patterns you are studying, until you are not writing some code, theory it's okay. Theory is very simple. Prototype design pattern say you have a one existing object, that is a prototype. From this prototype you can create any number of object. That is theory, anyone can say. But until you are not writing some code, not implementing in the language, you not feel comfortable. Whenever in a write while the developing application, at that time you feel uncomfortable. How I am going to use? This is my humble request. Whatever you are studying, just try to do some practice. From this note, here again, I would like to say thank you for watching this video.